Here we go. You are listening to Law and Gospel on this Wednesday, April the 12th, in the year of our Lord 2023. I'm Pastor Tom Baker, and I know that you're normally listening on Wednesdays to Proverbs, but the last two Sundays we did not have Bible studies because Palm Sunday we had a dinner after the worship service at this congregation. And last week, it was Easter, and people had relatives at home, etc. So we will be back in Proverbs next Wednesday. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, I received an email that had a very interesting title to it. It said, "This mom crept into her room her daughter and her girlfriend were sleeping in without them knowing. And now the daughter is furious." Wow. This is talking about what some young people are attempting to do. And the daughter's name is never given here, but she says, "I forced my mom to take off her crucifix in my apartment because it's a no religion safe place and safe space." Isn't that interesting? So her daughter has moved out and is in her own apartment, and she's created for her a new home, revealing the no religion safe place. And within 12 hours, thousands of people share reaction with some 1,200 comments coming in. And she asked others if she was in the wrong for, quote, "making our home into a no-religion space and including my mother in the rules." Now, how does she do this? Well, she's a 27-year-old woman who has a 32-year-old girlfriend, and they finally moved in after they've been dating for 3 years. In other words, they're gay. And she said, "As a couple, we're very excited to make our apartment into our own space, since for both of us, this is the first home we've had without sharing with anyone else." Now, though she doesn't go into details, she says there have been serious problems in her life with both her mother, who is still alive, and her father, who has died. What were these serious problems? She described them as rapidly Catholic. You know, when a dog has rabies, that's a dog that has a rabidly bad system. And she says they were rapidly Catholic. She says she was raised Roman Catholic, which meant, and this is her quote, attending church every Sunday, praying before every meal and stack, blah, blah, blah. That's what she wrote. In fact, her mother was very angry at her because she refused to study for and accept the sacrament of confirmation. So she revealed that in her new home, she has a no religion safe place. Now, why would she be against what she thinks is religion? Well, I've said it for a long time here, that people, especially young people, leave the church, particularly because of the morality that is found in the Bible. And in this case, that morality, of course, is against a gay relationship. She doesn't really realize it, but there is religion in the house. There's religion in the house because, according to the Bible, everyone has a God. What is the God everyone has? It's what they trust in their life. Now, she obviously has been moved by Satan to trust that a sexual relationship with another woman is more important than her relationship with her mother. In fact, she even says that. She says, well, my mother still drags me to church, hoping I'd grow out of it. That's the reason she took me to church. But I moved out when I was 18, and I have kept a respectfully distant relationship with her. Now, I find the word respectful there to be quite interesting. You can't have a respectful relationship with a mother who isn't even allowed to wear a crucifix in her daughter's apartment because she wants a religion-safe place. She doesn't understand that there is no place where there is no religion. She says that though she was raised Catholic and her mother was angry with her because she refused to accept the sacrament of confirmation, she also said that her mother did not approve of my bisexuality. Now, what that means is that she sleeps with men as well as with her girlfriend. She has a religion. And it's very interesting, Martin Luther's understanding of the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Remember how he says what that means? It says we should fear, love, and trust in God above all things. What is missing from the daughter is she thinks she has no fear of God. Should she have a fear of God? Yeah, the reason that people should fear God is because, as we've been looking at in the book of Proverbs, it is impossible to do a sin without a negative consequence happening. And we're already seeing the negative consequence. The negative consequence is that she does not have a proper relationship with her mother. She was outed when she was 12 years old, she says. That meant she was shown to be having gay feelings. And it says her parents abused her until she was 18, and then disowned her the entire time, using Bible quotes and God, mission as an excuse. Now, I don't understand what she's saying there, because her mother is continually requesting her to come to church with her. So what does that mean that her parents disowned her? Now, there's no doubt there are some parents that would disown their children if they are living in a lifestyle that is contrary to the Word of God. It's important that parents still love the children, but not for their behavior. but because they are part of the family. And that love means that you want to correct them in their lifestyle. All you have to do is turn on YouTube. That's that station where you can look at all kinds of movies, FBI files, etc. And just put down the subject, namely murders. And you will see how many times murders occur between gay people, because they get very jealous if you have another girlfriend or another boyfriend. And therefore, this is Satan at work. She has no fear of God. And because she has no fear of God, she thinks that she can make a space where, guess what? God is taken out. Now, she contradicts herself a number of times, saying that her mother disowned her, even though the mother continues to encourage her to come to church. She also adds that her girlfriend, and this is a quote, still believes in a God, just not in religion or worship, which I respect. Now, how can she respect her girlfriend who believes in God when she is trying to create a no-religion safe place where she doesn't want any kind of religion, including her mother and the rules? Her mother is told, when you come and visit, you must take off your crucifix. The crucifix isn't the only indication of religion entering into the home. It's obvious her mother does love her, is very concerned about her, and is really worried that she's leading a life that may end up with her going to hell. Now, what mother wants her child to have that as an end? Another point that she read or said that I found very interesting, she says, though my mother is respectful to my girlfriend, it's because I will choose her over my mother if it comes to that. And it nearly did, she says. So, here these people who are trying to make a no religion in their house have a religion in their house. For example, how do I know that they're worshiping Satan? Because the greatest temptation of Satan is for you to think you are God. And therefore, you can do whatever you want. And because of that lifestyle, we as Christians really want to reach out to people who are living in a gay relationship, because this is hurting them, whether they realize it or not. Imagine that you have a teenager and you find that they are taking heroin and other drugs. Would you allow them to continue to do that? Or would you say something? I would hope that you would say something as a parent and encourage them to help them out. And going to church, regardless that there are differences, for example, between Lutheranism and Roman Catholicism, Roman Catholics still believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for their sins. And therefore, to have a respectfully distant relationship with her mother is really the work of Satan. Satan moves us to do sin. And the mark of sin is, number one, we don't fear God because we don't believe he can do anything. It'll be very interesting to see how long this continues, this relationship, especially in a house where she's trying to have a no-religion atmosphere, but she has already admitted that her girlfriend still believes in a God, not just in religion or worship, which I respect. Now, that reminds me of Adam and Eve. They believed in God, but they didn't believe in the proper religious view of God. And they certainly did not fear God. They went ahead and ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, as every sinner does, since we are born with original sin. So, this daughter has made rules. There's no praying. There's no religious symbols of any kind. There's no proselytizing. And there's no talking about religious settings in their home. And she says, my mother hates this decision because all her friends are churchgoers. And 80% of her stories relate to something happening in church. She writes further about her mother. She gets mad that we make her take off or cover her cross necklace because these are our rules. She claims we're being hypocrites, to which I told her she's lucky to be in my life at all. You know, that's a statement that a Christian makes about Jesus Christ, that we're very fortunate to be in his life. For a daughter to say that to her mother shows how messed up her mind has been made by Satan. That her mother is lucky to be in her daughter's life? Now, there's no doubt that of the many comments, some of our friends tell us we're taking it too far in telling my mother to keep religion out of the house, because they say we're using our trauma as an outlet for revenge. So she was asking others on the internet, was she wrong for making her home into a no-religion space and including my mother in the rules? Now, here we get into a clinical psychologist from New York, Dr. Jamie Albin, who told Fox News Digital of this situation. Home is your personal space and should be a safe space. And those you invite should respect your feelings and wishes and how you live your life when they're under your roof, within limits, of course. Now, I find that interesting. What this doctor is saying, this psychologist, and this is why it's really hard to find a good clinical psychologist who understands the Bible. What he is saying is that, does the daughter ever visit the home of her mother? Because if she does, she is to respect the feelings and wishes of how her mother lives her life in that home, with religion being spoken about, being seen. There's probably pictures of Jesus, able to wear her necklace with a cross on it. But no, this psychologist goes and says, you need to respect the feelings and wishes of the person that you're visiting when you're under their roof. And then he says, within limits, of course. But he doesn't explain what he means by within limits. It would seem to me that within limits means not to be doing something that is damaging to your lifestyle. In having a lesbian relationship, all you have to do is check out the gay lifestyle, and you'll find early deaths, illness, etc. Why? Because the book of Proverbs makes it very clear that you can never sin without a negative consequence happening to you. And in this case, it's really obvious that this daughter is attempting to ignore her mother's religious beliefs and teachings. Won't even talk about it. That's what she really fears. She fears a discussion. You know, why would you fear someone telling you about Jesus if you're so sure that the lesbian lifestyle is okay? It's a good example that those living the lesbian lifestyle really are not comfortable with that. You've heard me say, for example, that if these two girls ended up adopting a child, which unfortunately is still possible in this day, they are going to be teaching what we refer to as pedophiliism. Because gay people do not think that the gay lifestyle is inappropriate to tell a child. And remember that Bible verse? Whosoever offends one of these little children. And the word offend there means to cause them to live a life of sin. And that's why we should be sure that adoption agencies, if at all possible, do not permit children to go into the homes of gay couples, because Satan's temptations will be there, even for the child. Now, the daughter says something also that is very interesting. She says that she is really surprised that her mother is against their gay relationship. Why? Because her mother seems to be okay with other gay people. And that shows me once more how the mother has failed to be a proper parent. Being gay or being on drugs or committing violence, we should not be surprised that these things happen. And even though the church is being blamed for putting these people in a situation where they feel really uncomfortable with church teachings. It's God who is putting them in those situations. And if you have a parent who is not giving proper instruction to a gay child, then expect negative consequences to come out of that particular situation. God will never bless a gay relationship, which really seems ridiculous in England, that though the Church of England has now decided again and again that they will not conduct a marriage for people living together who are gay, they are going to give a blessing to gay couples. Wow. This shows how far people have fallen into Satan's trap. And we'll hear more of this tomorrow in another situation as we take a look at what a Baptist pastor has to say about Easter. Be with us tomorrow on Law and Gospel for that discussion. Until then, God bless you.
Listen to Law and Gospel each weekday morning at 9:30 on KFUO. For a tax-deductible gift to Law and Gospel, please make your check out to Law and Gospel and mail to Law and Gospel, P.O. Box 28910, St. Louis, Missouri 63132, or call toll-free 1-877-267-1962.
Views and opinions expressed on Worldwide KFUO may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. If you'd like to comment on programs or topics heard on Worldwide KFUO, write us at KFUO, 1333 South Kirkwood Road, St. Louis, Missouri 63122. You can also leave a question or comment on our comment line at 314-996-1542. We are the messenger of good news, Worldwide KFUO.